Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so kindly for joining us. Yeah, let's start it out. Look at all of these beautiful faces, all of you lovely people and glowing souls. I can see each one of you individually. You're doing great. I appreciate you all being here. Welcome to Green Apple Books. My name is Car Johnson. I'm the event coordinator for Green Apple. And tonight, I hope you're ready to keep clapping all evening. I am very excited to welcome Sarah and Ian Hoffman as we celebrate Jacob's missing book. Very happy also to welcome tonight too. Sarah and Ian are joined by one of the premier Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, Sister Roma. Let's give it a hand for Sister Roma. Excellent. I'm really glad to have you all here. Thank you so much. I have very brief business and then I will let these guys take over. Now's a good time to silence your cell phones if you have not already. Picture taking is okay, I think.
Please.
Picture taking is okay. Please, encouraged even. Just, don't take a call in the middle of the event. We're not going to do that. That's not cute. Please do check out our full event calendar online. Again, this is business. I'm going to tell you business. Please do check out our full event calendar online at greenapplebooks.com. We have a really great season ahead of us, including the event you are currently attending. The restroom is behind me. Is available after the event, not during the event, for obvious reasons. If you need to know how to get there, do ask me, and I'll gladly tell you. So, we have some very fun things this evening. If you didn't already hear, there's cake. So there's cake. We're starting with cake. Oh my gosh, it can only go up from here. So, additionally, we have copies of Sarah and Ian's books at the front register. You can find them there. And if you want to grab one for yourself or every single one of your loved ones, that is very encouraged. Also, we have the unique opportunity this evening to donate books to the organization Pride and Less Prejudice, which provides LGBTQ inclusive books for students pre-K through third grade. So their classrooms to help students and teachers, quote, read out loud and read out proud. So if you are so inclined and you have a copy for yourself and you say, I want to support these authors so much and I want to support this bookstore so much, but I don't know what to do with this book, we have a basket at the back desk for which you can drop those books off and they will go to Pride and Less Prejudice. There you go. Solution. We got it. These are solutions-oriented people. Let's see. I have very brief business. I told you. We also have a raffle going on this evening with prizes provided by both Sarah and Ian. If you have not received a raffle ticket, now is the time. If you haven't received a raffle ticket and you would like to, please do raise your hand. My colleague Hannah is going to come and provide one for you. Excellent. So keep those hands up. Hannah will be coming around. And the prizes include, I'll be a little elusive about it because we're going to go into detail later, but book-related things, stuffies, colorful things. So I think you're going to want to get in on it, and you're literally not losing anything. Only maybe you have to keep your hand up for a moment, and I think you're going to be okay. So, I have just a little bit of something to say, which I don't usually do. I don't usually preamble, but because this event is very important to me, and as I think it's important to all of you, I'm going to say one very brief thing before I hand it over to our authors and Sister Roma here. So without saying too much, I will say that as a queer person, as a non-binary person, as a book professional, and as a former child who found so much solace in books, books like Ian and Sarah's meant so much to me and mean so much to me. Oh, geez, I didn't anticipate that. Okay. I know I am among friends here, so I am preaching to the choir, but I would like to say to the book banners out there, I'm going to look in the camera, to the book banners out there, you can try to ban these books. You can try to say that education is indoctrination, but guess what? I read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories about cis people and about straight people, and it didn't make me cis, and it didn't make me straight. So I will say I've read so many different kinds of books, and the accumulation of them has made me exactly who I am. And along with each and every one of you, you are all of the books you have read, unique individual person that you are. So I think the work that you do is very important, and I'm very glad to be a part of your book's journey. And thank you all for being a part of it as well. Let's give one more hand for the author. Oh, thank you. So, before I hand it over, there is one single front row seat right here if anyone wants to not be shy and take it. It was perhaps made for you. So think about it. Excellent, lovely. So, without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome now to read Jacob's missing book to you, to welcome an icon, someone who, along with her sisters, makes me very proud to call the Bay Area home. Please do welcome the one, the only, the incomparable Sister Roma.
Hello. Look at this beautiful San Francisco crowd. This is our community, and doesn't it smell good in here? Smell it! Like, this is a bookstore. Yes. We're in a bookstore. It's an endangered species these days. And we are live streaming. I'm sorry you can't smell it in here, live streamers. But this brings back so many memories for me. It's so beautiful to be here with all of you. And I'll go into more about how we know each other. And maybe we can talk about some of the luminaries in the audience too. But let's read the book, shall we? Jacob's Missing Book.
Wait, hold up.
Oh, yeah. We're going to hold up a copy so you can see.
Car, do you have a copy for us?
Oh, so I don't have to do like a...
Yeah.
Oh,
Beer.
nice.
Okay, grab one.
Two, please.
Why not?
I love it. I was actually thinking about wrangling a child to do this, to hold the book while I read. But no, I think you can do it. I have to be very careful when I approach children. They can go either way. It's like dogs too. Usually, though, you can tell when the child looks at you with wonder and mystery or appreciation or some sort of love. You look at their parent and they're smiling and they're happy to see you. But when a child hides behind their parent's leg and you look up at the parent, they have they're looking at you like they want their child to hide behind their leg. So thank you to everyone here who brought your kids and allowing your children to grow up in this beautiful world without fear.
Thank you.
I'll hold up the book for people here, and I'll hold up for the people back there.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Teamwork.
You're a thinker.
And yet it kind of seems like it is.
All right, Jacob's Missing Book. For all the brave librarians and teachers fighting for the right to read. And for Charlie, thanks for lunch.
Where's Charlie? He's here tonight.
S-H and I-H. Is Charlie here?
Our inspiration. Charlie's there. Oh, he's pretending he's not.
Oh, Charlie, this is dedicated to you. Thanks for lunch, Charlie. To OC and RF with thanks. Cece. Very mysterious. Jacob looked for the Penguin book, but it wasn't on the shelf. So he went to the librarian to ask. Mrs. Tolson, the Penguin book is missing, said Jacob. Mrs. Tolson frowned. Yes, it is. She reached for a book on the library cart. Try this book about bats, Jacob. I think you'll enjoy it. Jacob made room on his bed so his mom could snuggle in next to him. What should we read tonight? Asked Jacob's mom. The Penguin book, said Jacob. Good choice, said Jacob's mom. She slid the book from the lopsided pile next to Jacob's bed. I tried to read it during library time, said Jacob, but it was missing. That happened, said Jacob's mom. Good thing we have a copy at home. Jacob fell asleep, snuggling his pretend feathers deep into his nest. Carrots for dessert? Emily shook her head. Papa always gets it wrong. It's better when Dad makes lunch. My mom does that, said Noah. I tell her parents are not dessert. Who are Papa and Dad? Asked Sophie. My dads, said Emily. You have 2 dads? Asked Noah. Just like in the Penguin book, said Jacob. Emily nodded. Papa and Dad read that book to me. My grandma even gave me a penguin stuffy. What's the Penguin book? Asked Noah. It's so great, said Sophie. I'll show you in the library. It's not in the library, said Jacob. It's missing. Jacob raised his hand. Mrs. Reeves, Miss Reeves, Miss Reeves. Miss Reeves smiled as she crossed the room. Hello, Blue Table, she said. Hello, Jacob. How can I help you? Noah's never read the Penguin book, said Jacob. Ms. Tolson said it's missing. Can you ask her to give it to you when she finds it? And then you can read it to us for story time. Ms. Reeves opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. She closed her mouth, took a deep breath, then let it out slowly. We're not going to be able to read that book in class anymore, she said. Why? Asked Jacob. Ms. Reeves pulled a chair over to the kids' table and sat down. Some people are unhappy with the books we have in our library and our classrooms, said Ms. Reeves. While the school is trying to figure that out, some of the books have been taken away. The Penguin book is one of them. What's wrong with the Penguin book? Asked Emily. I'm sorry, but I can't say any more, said Ms. Reeves. My mom says some people don't like the book because the penguins are both dads, said Jacob. Emily shot out of her seat. She leaned across the table and stared at Jacob. What's wrong with having 2 dads? She said. Nothing, said Ms. Reeves. She placed her hand over Emily's. There's nothing wrong with having 2 dads. Jacob looked at their hands together. He reached across the table and placed his hand over Emily's too. Emily sat back down. Emily, would you share one of your carrots with me? Sighed Ms. Reeves. I could use a treat right about now. At recess, Emily hung upside down and looked at Jacob. I can't believe they took away the Penguin book, she said. Sophie climbed up, then flipped upside down next to Emily. It's weird, said Sophie. Noah's head appeared at the top of the slide. Hey, he said, what is the Penguin book about? We'll show you, said Jacob. Let's play penguin. The kids ran around the playground, gathering rocks for a nest. Sophie found the perfect rock for a penguin egg. Now we sit on the egg and hatch the baby penguin, explained Jacob. I'll be the first dad. And I'll be the second, said Sophie. Then you need to take care of the baby penguin until it grows up, said Jacob. My dads say babies are hard work, said Emily, but that I was worth it. Should I get us some fruit? Asked Sophie. The sandbox could be the ocean, said Jacob. Be right back, said Sophie, waddling away. I want to be the baby penguin when it hatches, said Emily. No, I want to be the baby penguin, said Noah. I'm the one with 2 dads, said Emily. Okay, grumbled Noah, but I get to be the baby penguin next time. The rest of Ms. Reeves' class wanted to play too. Soon, there were penguin nests all over the playground. When the bell rang, many happy penguins waddled back to class. I see you picked the Penguin book again, said Jacob's mom as she settled onto his bed. We played penguins at school, said Jacob, and hatched eggs. That is delightful, said Jacob's mom. We had to explain the story to Noah because they took the book away from school, said Jacob. Emily is really sad the book's gone. Jacob's mom sighed. I bet she is. Mom, do you think the school can get the Penguin book back? Asked Jacob. I don't know, said Jacob's mom. She kissed him on top of his head. "We can try." "Okay," smiled Jacob. "Now read." Isn't it just brilliant? It's so brilliant. I mean, it's just the way that it just explains everything and puts it out there, the reality of what's happening, but in a way that's not frightening or threatening, or it's not overtly like accusatory. It's perfect. I think that this is such an important book, like all of your books, honestly, that people should read. I met these two at an event that is called Books Not Bands at Fabulosa Books in the Castro, where I was hosting their fundraiser. They're shipping banned books to red state schools, which is incredible. And Ian and Sarah were two of the featured authors, and we just hit it off. So when they approached me about doing this, I absolutely jumped at the chance, because I feel like this is so important. I, too, was an avid reader as a kid. I read every single Laura Ingalls Wilder book and every single Hardy Boys book. I couldn't wait for the Hardy Boys book for the next one to come out. Like, my mom would take me to the store, and if there was a new one, like, I had to buy it and read it right away. And I read like that my whole life. And I think that reading is so important, because it builds your vocabulary and it shows you a new world and a new way to look at things. And Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House of the Prairie was the television show. And the Hardy Boys did not feature any queer characters. There was no transgenderism in the Hardy Boys. You know, they were both straight, young teenagers. And look at me. I think that a very good point was made earlier, that this whole idea about grooming is ridiculous. And the threat that some people choose to feel around drag queens, and drag queens being around children, is also ridiculous, because drag queens are not coming for your children. Drag queens are here for your children. Yeah. And it's important to see people that are living authentic lives that they may be able to identify, or that they just want the parents want their kids to grow up in a world where they're not afraid and they're not prejudiced and they accept people for what they are. So I want to know from the two of you, what is the missing book? I think a lot of us know what the missing book is, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about the missing book?
Okay, we will, but first, we just need to thank you, because I feel so incredibly lucky that we have our own personal drag queen story hour. I mean, no shade on any drag queen story hour, but this with the legend of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's true.
No one in this room, everyone here probably knows that
he
Roma
has no idea who it is.
Okay, Peter, Sister Roma has been a sister of perpetual indulgence for what,
37 years.
37 years, right?
Dr. Nelson's not in.
I was just explaining earlier today that the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence is one of my favorite San Francisco institutions.
Oh, yay! We're gonna have to pick a new person to pick. Let me think. Madam, do you know? So, she's a legend, and she is a major activist in all kinds of LGBTQ causes and fundraiser, and she's the Grand Marshal of the Pride Parade, and hosts and MCs, the Folsom Street Fair, and the Hunky Jesus contest. So we pretty much could not be more honored.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, but enough about me. More later. But let's talk about you. Oh, you
yeah,
do?
we have one more quick thank you, which is we have to thank Green Apple Books.
Oh, yeah.
Institution for over 50 years, and especially want to thank Carr. You could hear from Carr's introduction. What an extraordinary event planner. Authors, I see you, I see you, I see you.
We do have a lot of authors.
Yeah, we do have a lot of authors. This is where you want to do your event. Okay, support this institution.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the plug for Pride and Less Prejudice. They're an extraordinary organization we've worked with for many years. We love them. And this was our friend Michelle's idea. She said, I want to buy a book, but I don't need a book. So what can I do with it? Who can I give it to? And we
I
talked
guess I
about.
have to buy one today, huh?
Yes,
Sorry.
So, in answer to your question, because we don't want to wait too long to answer your question, the book, the missing book, is And Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell. And it is the true life story of two boy penguins at the Central Park Zoo, who the zookeepers could see were a couple. And they could also see during breeding season that they, like the other couples, built a nest and out of rocks, just like the kids in the book. And they actually pushed a rock into the center, like an egg, to be an egg, and they sat on it. And so the zookeepers, when another couple had abandoned an egg, the zookeepers took that egg and they gave it to these boys, Roy and Silo. I'm getting the chills as I say this. So they hatched their baby, and the zookeepers named her Tango, because it takes two to make a tango. And we actually have a copy that's, I'm going to cheat and show you. It's a raffle gift, because it's really exciting and special, because this was just released last week, the library edition, the school and library edition. It's beautiful, and it has back matter about book banning efforts, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and I highly encourage you to buy it if you don't win it. And this book was super important to our family when our kids were growing up. Our daughter loved this book. It was her favorite book. We read it every night for years. We came into the classrooms and read it. She wrote book reports on it. There was penguin art all over her house. There's still penguin art all over her house, actually. And it just meant a lot to our family for a lot of different reasons. And so, and now we've been in touch with Peter and Justin, and love this book. So
Can I ask
that
an
is the book.
obvious question? Is this book on the list of banned books in many red states?
So, And Tango Makes Three is one of the most banned books in the United States, in the top 10 everywhere, every year. And this, despite the fact that it's nonfiction and it's about penguins. So whenever any of our previous books was banned, and all three of our books have been banned in about 26 states at this point.
And Malaysia.
Only one was banned in Malaysia, let's be clear. We knew that Tango would be banned wherever our book was banned. So in addition to really loving this book, we felt a real sense like we were comrades in arms.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into that. Why you're writing these beautiful books for children? You know, I think the reason they don't like that book is because these are the same people who you can't deny the science. They swear to God there's two genders, right? That's it. Your sex and all that. That's because it's an actual scientific, proven reality story about these two loving creatures who happen to be same sex. I mean, that's how do you can't deny it. You can't fight it with the same logic that you would fight our existence. So they ban it.
Yeah.
So why do you think that your beautiful children's books are being banned?
Well, we've got 3 other books. This is Jacob's New Dress, which is about a little boy who wants to wear a dress to school. You can guess why that's banned. This is Jacob's Room to Choose, which is about using the bathroom that's right for you, whatever your gender is. Okay.
That's the one that's banned in Malaysia.
Yeah. This is, Jacob's New Dress is number 72 on the list of the 100 most banned books in the United States.
Bravo.
And number 73 is Lolita. This is Jacob's School Play, starring he, she, and they, which is introduction to pronouns for kids and their adults.
And I think you heard about the 4th one. So there's a theme running through our books, you may have noticed. And it has something to do with helping kids who are different from the norm accept themselves. And helping kids who are not different learn to be kind. So why are they banned?
Right.
Because the majority of books on the banned book list are by and about LGBTQ people and people of color. I think that's it. But we believe that all children should be able to see themselves reflected in books. And we believe that teaching kids about all the myriad ways to be a human being on this planet makes us all better citizens. And we think that these are good things to teach children.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for that. I have my opinion about what the underlying, I mean, it's obvious, it's homophobia, it's transphobia and all that, but I feel like it's all based in fear. People are afraid of these books. Like they're afraid of our pride flag because of what it represents and what the power that the flag that the flag is the power of our community. They're afraid of it. They're afraid of your books.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want people to read them because then they will realize, oh, this is beautiful, this is innocent, this is lovely, this is real, it's natural, right? So how does it make you feel to know that your books are banned? Or is it a badge of honor? I mean, somebody said, way to go back there, right?
I mean, it's all the things, right? So the first time we were banned was in 2017. So Jacob's New Dress was banned in one school district in North Carolina. So this is like mini banning compared to what's happening now. And we were doing this all-day school event at a school in Pacifica. It was like we did kindergarten through 8th grade, and then the parents, and then the PTA, and the superintendent. It was like we talked to everybody. It was exhausting. So we came out for a break, and we looked at our phones, and it was like... It was like the storming of the Capitol. It was like, I've never seen my phone like that before. It wasn't like the storming of the Capitol.
What was the date again?
I just mean in terms of how much was going on my phone. And you know, the only call we had time to return was from the New York Times. And so it was kind of exciting, like, the New York Times is calling us. We're going to be quoted in the New York Times. And that was cool. And then people in North Carolina started reaching out to us and apologizing for their state's bad behavior. And so we got like more love than hate from this experience. And so that was really kind of fun and exciting. And we're like, oh, this banning thing is not too bad. You know, maybe there's more attention on our books. Maybe there'll be more book sales. And then things are entirely different now. And we just are spending our time trying to get used to adjusting to a much more hostile world.
Yeah, there have always been book bans in the United States, even before we were in the United States. But up until for the 2 decades before 2020, it was completely different. So the 20 years before that, about 400 books were challenged each year. And so a challenge is when someone complains about a book in the school or a library, and the school or library has to review it to decide whether to keep it on the shelves. Even that way for 2 decades, and then we get to 2021, and we go from 400 book challenges to 1,600 book challenges that year. And some books are challenged multiple times, so there were about 2,500 instances of books being banned in that year. Then we get to 2022, and it jumps up to 3,400 book bans that year. And then we get to 2023, where there are over 4,000 instances of book bans in schools and libraries in the first half of the school year. Yeah. So more than the previous year, just in 6 months. That's where we are now.
That is mind-boggling.
It is.
I mean, who are these people, and where do they report? Like, they tell their librarian, their teacher. Who does the final complaint go to? How do you get those numbers? Is there a book banning committee and like what? How does it work? Do you know?
It kind of would be more easy if there was a book banning committee because PEN America and the American Library Association track book bans, but they actually have to hunt down like the information. So they look for people reporting the information, or they follow the minutes of school board meetings.
It's reported in the press.
Or it's reported in the press. So the numbers that I gave you are a big undercount of what is actually being banned. But the people who are leading the book bans are political action committees funded by very wealthy, ultra-conservative extremists who want to get books out of schools. And the idea is if you instill fear in people, that they will vote for more conservative candidates. And they have a larger agenda also of defunding schools and libraries, which are places where you learn things.
Absolutely. I was going to say they have a bigger target, and that's just education in general,
exactly.
Which is terrifying and horrible, because then they're also going to do the free. I mean, you all know. I mean, this crowd obviously is well aware and very of keeping abreast of everything that's going on in the world. So thank God that we're here. Thank God this bookstore is here. Thank God you're writing these books. Keep it up. Like, don't give up ever, 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 ever.
We are going to get old at some point.
No, you're not. I'm not. There is a celebrity in the house, actually. Isn't Ms. Reeves here?
No, thank you so much for bringing this up. So, there are two humans who inspired two of the characters in this book. And one of them is Ms. Reeves, our son's kindergarten teacher, and we'll tell you more about her. And the other is Ms. Tolson, the librarian at our kids' school. And this right here is the real live Ms. Tolson! When?
We had that book the minute it was published,
Aww.
Tango Makes Three.
Aww.
And all the other LGBTQ
You had the
books
best
from
library.
kindergarten to YA, young adult.
The
Because
best
I had
library.
kids who needed to identify with somebody, and they would come and say, "Oh, hey, you might like this book."
Ms. Tolson is the one who taught us what librarians can do.
Mm-hmm. Seeing each kid for who they are and what they need, and just gently making a recommendation. You changed our kids' lives. Thank
You get the
you.
best family. And the people who are asking to have these books removed don't necessarily read the book.
Yeah.
They don't read them. That's right. In fact, if they read them, they would understand. I mean, the primary thing that they say about our books is that they contain porn. So, I don't know. Did you guys hear porn? I mean, maybe I'm missing something.
No, trust me, I know porn.
Yeah. No.
So lucky we got an expert. Okay.
But thank you for everything that you do. And also, what did you think about the voice of the book, if I can ask, the way that the librarians and teachers are sort of silenced, right?
Well, in a private school, less so. So Brandeis was a private school, and I've had a few people challenge me on books, but they had nothing to do with this topic. And I made the decision whether or not, and then sometimes they go over your head to the principal, and then the book's gone.
Yeah.
Because they cater to but I would say a private school has much more open policy. Because you've chosen that school for various reasons.
Right.
Not to,
That's what they expect.
Yeah, but I thought, I knew exactly what book we were talking about with the penguins, and I actually thought that maybe he forgot to return it, because you said Jacob's missing book.
That's such a librarian thing.
Yeah.
And who is the?
It was in his backpack.
Is the illustrator here?
No,
Oh.
he's in Vermont.
Oh.
But Chris Case is our lovely illustrator, and I just feel like he gets better and better. Did you like the illustration?
I loved it.
Yeah, and I think he may be with us on the live stream. So this little camera here is streaming in people from all over the world. Hi, thank you for joining us. We love you. And one of them may be Chris Case, who is, I don't know, my favorite illustrator in the world, because I love working with him. And he's a great guy and easygoing and does beautiful work.
Absolutely.
Have you met him?
Yeah.
We have. We've met him in person, and we've also done some Zoom work with him, like in classrooms. Yeah.
Because often the illustrator and the author have never met.
Well, that's how it's usually done.
But
And-
our very lovely editor, Chris Enderley, lets
Who's
us.
also here. Hi,
Oh,
Chris.
hi, Chris. Lets us see sketches in progress and comment on things, and so we have a dialogue as the book moves forward, which is really fun.
And sometimes we change the text based on the drawings. And as Ian always points out, Chris is often illustrating like a slightly different beat than we envisioned would be illustrated, and so it actually changes the language sometimes, and it's a really great symbiotic back and forth that is very uncommon.
Well, it's a beautiful result. It's absolutely
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
So obviously we all appreciate your books. We love them. What do you hope to accomplish beyond this group, beyond our audience, with your beautiful books? Specifically, Jacob's Missing book. What do you hope to accomplish? What changes do you envision with these books?
Well, we were in a really dark place. I read you all those statistics about book bans. And because our books are the ones that are banned, we got to follow this in the news. And we started talking, Sarah and I, about what effect does this really have on anybody? And we realized that parents with resources could find our books. They could come to a bookstore like this where they'd be on the shelves, or they could order them online. And it's the parents without resources that couldn't find their books in their libraries or their schools. And we also realized that in those classrooms we often talk to teachers who say, I used your book to support this particular kid in my classroom and it made all the difference. Like those are really heartfelt conversations that we have. And we realize those teachers in all of those states couldn't do that for their kids. They couldn't support them. And it left us in a kind of terrible place emotionally because, we're about building this culture of kindness. And we could see that the book banners were about building a culture of fear. And in a lot of places, they were winning, which is not good. So we live in San Francisco, right? We vote here. Politicians in Texas don't care what we think. Politicians in Florida or Idaho or Utah or Pennsylvania, right? The list goes on. They don't care what we think. So, what can we do to make a difference? And we realized that, I think everybody in this room understands, this is a little rectangle of cardboard and paper and ink. And yet, this has changed all of our lives. Maybe not this particular one, but you know that the ones have changed your lives. And so we realized that we should do what we do, which is we write books. So we wrote a book. Right?
Yeah. And we realized two things that make us feel a little bit hopeful. And one is that there are a lot more of us than there are of them. So book banning is actually, despite how loud the banners are, very unpopular in this country. So 69% of Americans are against book banning. That's more agreement on a topic than any other I can say. We were discussing ice cream, puppies. I don't know, I'm kind of on puppies. So we have that on our side. And the other thing we have on our side is that they can yell all they want. They can take away our books, but they can't take away our stories. So we can tell our story, you can tell your story, and together we can actually make a difference because we think that stories actually change the world.
Yeah.
And so that is what is making us feel hopeful. And that is what let us write a book, which felt like the only productive answer we could have because most of our thoughts were not productive in the beginning.
So good. So true. And I will say that when I was a kid, one sure way to get me to want to read or watch or listen to something was to tell me that I can't. Anything that no, this is not for you. This is way age inappropriate. I was like, I'll read it when you're not looking. So thank you for banning the books and making them so well known that the New York Times called you and your phone was blowing up. And now your books are famous. And you're famous.
Yeah, but we are, we're not, no, I'm not agreeing with we're famous. I'm saying, I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying. You say things, you're better at the saying.
Well, you're heroes to me, and I know that everybody in this room loves you. I appreciate you. Does anybody else have any questions? Any questions? Oh, great. Yes. How about, let's start here. Sure.
So my question is, I really love the ending. Did you think of a different, were you going back and forth on the ending? Maybe the book reappears, or maybe the ban is taken away, or was that always the ending?
It's such an interesting question. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So we originally wrote it, and the ending was the kids going back into the classroom. And our editor loved that. And then we sat with that for a couple of days and we're like, nah. So we wrote the additional page scene there in the bedroom, and then we sent that to the editor, and she was like, oh yeah, that's better. But no, we didn't, the adults are struggling. And we wanted to represent that. And so we didn't want to come up with some magical solution where the kids save the day.
Because there's not a way to solve it.
Yeah.
And it's messy, and the adults are flailing, and we wanted to show that even in that context, kids can figure out what to do. They can tell their own story. They can make it their own.
Yeah. Brilliant. And it's also providing a little guidance to parents and to librarians and teachers as well. Yeah. Well, no, how to interact and just, I don't know. It's really messy. It's really tough.
Yeah.
But this makes it beautiful. Who else had it? Yeah. Oh, yes.
So stories really do touch our lives and make change. So I wonder if you could tell us a story about a way in which one of your books has reached and maybe made a difference in somebody's life.
He might cry.
So this is hard. So the very first time I went to an American Library Association conference, our first book was out, I was signing books, and I was totally new at this. I didn't know what to do, and like talk to people, and it was very strange for me. I'd never done anything like this before. And at the end of the whole book signing, somebody came up to me, and they took out their phone. I signed the book for them. We had a discussion like, what's your kid's name? Wrote the thing. And then they took out their phone, and they pulled up a picture, and they turned it around, and it's a little boy in a pink dress holding a book. And they said, "Thank you so much." And I was just like, what did we do? Like, here's this kid that, we wrote this book to support kids like our kid and families like our family. But here's this kid that, like, I've never met. I'm never going to meet them, right? And somehow we helped them.
Yeah.
That was just magical.
And hundreds and thousands more. Absolutely. Yeah, so beautiful. Yes?
I'm curious what you're hearing from young readers about your book. What kind of feedback?
Thanks, Michael. Well, we have some young readers with us today. We welcome that. We haven't actually heard. Have we heard?
We hear from parents, and we hear from librarians, and we hear from teachers, and we hear from school counselors. But we don't actually interact with kids that much, because it's for little kids. They don't send emails. Yeah, school visits are fun, and school visits are so exciting, and they're so engaged in the story, and they react really positively to it. And but we find that kids are generally ahead of the adults on these topics.
Kids are so accepting. I mean, one of the things we were talking about earlier is about how, education is so powerful, but it's not actually that hard. So Ms. Reeves, the teacher who Ms. Tolson worked with at our kids' school, when she was faced with our son, a little boy who was wearing a dress and wearing pink Crocs and had long hair, and the kids were making fun of him, and so she just did these really simple lessons. So she had no curriculum, because that administration. She had no guidance, but she just took opportunities where she found them. So the kids are arguing about colors. No, that's a boy color, that's a girl color. And she'd say, well, is pink a girl color or a boy color? How about blue? Well, wait a minute. Are there girl colors and boy colors, or are there just colors? And one day, she pulled a picture out of a little kid with short hair, and she said, do you think this is a boy or a girl? And all the kids were like, boy! And she said, well, this was me when I was your age. So sometimes girls can have short hair, and sometimes boys can have long hair, right? And the kids they're like, oh, okay. And then they stopped teasing him, like it wasn't rocket science, And then the class next door, they didn't get any of these lessons because they had a more conservative teacher. And they kept teasing him. And I'm like, this is science. There's a control group right here. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what we learned from all that is that, like, building a culture of kindness isn't difficult. Like, it's not hard work. You can do it. It's work, but it's not hard work.
And it's learned, right?
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier about the kids, you approach the kid, and if they're afraid, you look at the parent, they're taught those things.
Yeah.
Kids are smart. Kids really are smart. People don't give them enough credit. And like you said, they're like, oh, okay. Like if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. There's no need for all this extra mess around it.
Right.
It's so unnecessary. Yeah. Any more questions?
Your lips to go.
Hi.
What's next for Jacob?
Ooh, yeah. What's next?
Wow. At one point we decided that writing about kids and gender wasn't controversial enough, so we'd write about kids and religion. So we have a manuscript in process on that.
That book was in progress for about a year and a half when this book idea came around. And then this one was just so fertile, and it was like, it got written in a matter of weeks, and it just, boom, and our editor loved it, and it was fast-tracked with the illustrator and the printer, and it just came into being. The other one was a much more normal timeline, so we'll see about going back to that.
Yep.
No, religion's not really that controversial. So boring. Are there any more questions? Are there questions online? Is there a way for them to ask? Are we monitoring that? Or?
Yeah, I can tell you if they ask.
Oh, okay.
Well,
They
please,
haven't yet.
if you're at home, you are welcome to ask a question in the chat. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Put your questions in the chat. Cara will communicate them to us.
I kind of remember Ian talking about writing a book. He'd come in all the time and we'd chat. And but I don't remember at the time if you ever had published anything, and had you two worked together, and the writing process, any experience as writers?
Good question. We didn't have a picture book. At the time, he was working on picture books. That was the giraffe book.
Yeah.
And I was writing for adults about kids and gender. And we really recognized that our son had needed a book. And it wasn't there. And what happens with these kids, right, is they think they're the only one. And we eventually joined this group of parents, actually it was international, it was like 350 families. And everyone had a kid who was gender non-conforming in some way. And everyone thought they were alone, right? They were the only kid in that class or that neighborhood or that school or that church or whatever. And so, that's how you solve for that, is you let kids see themselves in a book. So we're like, you know what, maybe we should bring what you're doing and my topic together and write a book together. And that became Jacob's New Dress. Too late for our son, but it's still out there 10 years later.
When we had a book, of course, it's been so long, I can't remember that there was a book with a boy wearing a dress.
There was Oliver Button is a Sissy that was very old. I don't know, we would have had it in the library there. It was out of print. Yeah, was there something?
I can't remember anything.
Yeah, there was nothing before it, although in the year ours came out, another one came out. And now there's a ton. Yeah.
Or several.
So there's a ton relative to what there were. Yeah.
Any other questions? Oh, great.
Are there any lessons or life lessons that you've learned from your son?
No. I wish I could recall the speech I gave at his bar mitzvah. I don't remember much of what I said, except that the culmination of the speech was "Let your freak flag fly," and it wasn't just him; it's our whole family. I mean, we're all just freaky in our own ways. But
it's the city too.
And it's this city, it's this place, But a lot of kids didn't have to, right? So I remember in kindergarten, this one mom came up to me and she said, "It's so brave that, Sam's wearing a dress because, he lets my son feel comfortable wearing nail polish on weekends, that, he takes it off, for the school week." And I'm like, oh, you have the kid who can hide, right? I have the kid who can't hide. He just felt it that strongly. And so he just had to be himself, and he cared about being himself more than he cared about not being teased. Because it was rough, and it got rougher, and it got uglier, in the bathroom and in public, and things got, it's hard to be different like that. So I think that's something that I'm proud of him for, and just being himself. Both our kids are very much themselves, and that I didn't understand before becoming a mom how much I would value and appreciate that. Or that was even important. I think I never had articulated that.
I love that you're so comfortable with it and accepting and encouraging. So many parents aren't. I'm sure we all have stories. What do you think is the reason that you two, you obviously, your heart is it's bursting out of you along with your tears and the love. You're both, why do you think you are, what were your parents like? Where do you get this from?
I'll take this question.
It seems like people might know.
So I'm one of 4 boys, and we're all very different from each other. And my parents did a really good job of introducing us to everything they could think to introducing us to. And then they'd see what we responded to and then push us in that direction. And I once asked my mother about this, and she had taught school before she had kids. She taught elementary school in New Orleans. And she said, I learned teaching school that you can teach a kid to be the best version of themselves they can be, but you can't teach them to be somebody that they're not. So she said, that's what I did with all of you. I just tried to figure out who you were.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so who did she ask when she needed advice about window treatments?
So my mom loves clothes and decorating, and she had no girls, which is what she really wanted, someone to dress and dress her. So I was the one who helped her pick out your shoes before she went.
Oh, you're the gay one.
Yeah.
You're the gay one.
Starting about 3rd grade, she's like, these shoes or these shoes? And by 4th grade, I was like, well, where are you going?
That's the important question.
Exactly.
It's going to be there. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, right. Oh, I love it.
Imagine her disappointment when she finally got a girl.
Well, are there more questions? Oh yes, of course. Hi.
Hi. I have a question from our online audience.
Okay.
And we can make it the last one, and if you have questions for Sarah and Ian, you can ask them in the signing line. So Joanna asks, from an adult's perspective, what can teenagers do to fight against book banning in their schools or otherwise?
Joanna, thank you for
Good
asking that
question.
question.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a whole handout about this. And there is a youth organization, in fact, called Golden State Readers. It's California-based, but they're national, and they're fundraising and doing all this advocacy work and education, and I think they're here with us tonight on the live stream as well. They're awesome. They're run by young people. They're so smart and creative and thoughtful. But young people can get involved with all of these efforts. So we have this list, which we can share with you, which offers organizations like Pride and Less Prejudice who are getting banned books into kids' hands. And actually we have another local effort going on. We've got some postcards up here, Books Not Bans, that Sister mentioned earlier, which is through Fabulosa Books, although they have a nonprofit fiscal sponsor as well. They're sending adult books versus kids' books for Pride and Less Prejudice, but they're more adult focused. But they're sending boxes of books to red states, like to LGBTQ centers in red states, and it's so cool. So I have flyers for that. And then we have like organizations that are fighting book bans, and also organizations that are fighting the forces behind the book bans, right? So organizations that promote free speech and racial justice and not gerrymandering and things like that. So because the book banning is kind of irrelevant. Like you said, they haven't read the book, they don't care. It's the bigger forces at work that we have to fight. So, you know, there's stuff on here about like supporting local public media because that is fact-based reporting. So, so feel free to take one of these, and if you are not with us in person today, it is on our website under a tab that says something like Stop Book Bans or something obvious like that. Resources? No. You'll figure it out. You're smart, Joanna.
What is your website?
SarahAndIanHoffman.com. So I think that we are going to be signing books, and I think that our sister is available for photos. Is that correct?
Well, I am the most photographed nun in the world.
Right?
You can Google it. It's true.
The most the most photogenic person in the room.
Oh, I don't know about that. We have prizes.
Yeah, we have
Get your tickets out.
If I win this, I win the
All right, so prize one is Entangle Makes 3, the penguin book, and a stuffed penguin. Girl. Okay. Can you? I think I can read it, but I don't want to, mess this up. I'm trying to clean up my language because there's kids here.
Except some of them are related to us, so they've heard it. Okay, who has ticket number 561274?
Oh my gosh!
I work with kids, so I will be reading this in a couple weeks.
Awesome. That's great.
Oh my God.
It's meant to be.
Prize 2, a green apple hat and a green apple gift certificate.
Pull it, I'll read it.
Okay.
See, she really can't see, so she's
Yeah, I
this
have
is
no
not
idea.
good.
This is legit.
He memorized the book.
Okay. Number 561246. Super so close. Anyone else?
What was it again?
4-6.
561246. No? Do we have to pull another one?
Well, we're 4-5.
This is, are they all, do I just need to give you the last two digits?
Yeah.
Okay, the last two digits are 7-4. Who has 7?
You already did this.
Let's try again. Okay. 2-7-4. No? We're really good at this.
So you won twice.
I did not win twice.
You won twice.
2-7-4.
Okay, let's try again with 2-4-1. Last three digits are 2-4-1.
Exactly.
Okay, you know, if you just act really excited, we're not going to chat.
Last three digits are 2-6-4. Wait a minute. Okay, no.
Oh, okay, wow. The grand prize. Free people read Freezy.
Really?
Book free.
It's not you. No, it's me.
Free people read freely. Book bag. I read Bam books. Dish towel. And a Jacob's missing book.
We wanted. The last three digits are Heather. No. The last three digits are 283.
Oh. 283. And is that it? I think we're done, right? So we're going to do a book signing. There's plenty of food and there's more wine, and let's just mingle and enjoy.
Thanks again to Sister Roma. And to Green Apple and Carr especially.
All of you for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm just here with more business, but first order of business. We'll give one more hand for Sarah and Ian. For Sister Roma as well, once more. Thank you all for being here. This was super special and super fun, and I really appreciate all of you. So, I am here to let you know that Sarah and Ian are going to be signing books right here where they are now. We're going to let them take a beat, get something to drink, something to replenish themselves before we get started. Books are available at the front register. You can buy them there and then bring them on back here. And I'm going to move this basket. If you want to donate books, I'm going to put that by the register as well. So you can just pop it in. So if you want to donate a book to Pride and Less Prejudice, I'm going to move it to the register. And you can say, this is for donation. Here you go. If you have any other questions, do let me know. And if not, I will see you next time. Let's give one more hand for our authors.